Welcome to Seeker of Ascension. Life is not a destination, but a journey. I'm your host, Carrie Hermery. Welcome. Today, I'm so excited to talk to you about energy imprinting. As you know, we are energy beings living in a physical world. And everything's about energy. Like Albert Einstein said, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. So what is energy imprinting? Well, personally, I think it's like an energy imprint, like a fingerprint. Wherever you go, whatever you touch, you leave your energy. The dictionary states the energy imprint is a memory or a recording of energies within it. Energy imprints are waves of energy from people, things, environments that we come into contact with. Energy, when you think of energy as an energy being and energy always moving, how does energy imprinting? What exactly is imprinting? Yes, we understand it comes from a memory or recording of energies of different things happening within our experiences. Energy imprinting is to retain something in one's memory or to imprint onto something like a place or an object. So energy imprints, we can't see them. They're invisible. So as children, we are imprinted by our families. Our mother is the first thing that we see when we're born, and our father. So when you think of animals, when the animal is born, the mother licks it off. It builds that bond. Same with humans. So we are imprinted as children, and that's what becomes our beliefs of the world, because after we're born, our conditioning, how our parents take care of us, is our energy imprinting of us on this world. So it's really interesting when you see or you experience energy, because we can't see it. So a lot of people wonder, what is this? Empaths feel energy imprinting very well. So when you go into a place, your hair stands on the back of your hair, that place has been imprinted with an event or an experience. So we all have experiences and memories that we hold within our subconscious mind. And that's where the energy imprinting is stored, is in our subconscious mind. But it comes from the conscious mind of our daily events. So just like I said before, energy is always moving. And we come into different frequencies, energy frequency daily. Sometimes you'll come around people that are sad, sometimes happy, but we're always attaching ourselves to some kind of energy. But an energy imprint doesn't stick to our bodies or our minds, through our minds, without a positive or negative experience. So think of it this way. When you come across a very severe accident, car accident, and you feel the sadness, somebody's been hurt really badly or someone has died. By watching the accident and adding an emotion to it, you have just created an energetic imprint from that accident within your mind. And as you think about that accident, it sinks down into your subconscious mind. That is one way that we energy imprint. I want to talk about other ways of how we receive energy imprinting of others. So when people buy secondhand stuff or buy a secondhand home, what happens is you are buying the previous people's energies, their imprinting of their energies, because as physical things, you can see them, but they still vibrate energetically. They just vibrate really close, so the physical eye can see it. So when you buy something that's physical, like mattress, clothing, everything holds energy. Even wood holds energy. So when you buy this stuff secondhand, you get the people's emotions that were attached to it. So if you buy something secondhand that makes you feel good, that's because that piece is probably a happy piece. But over time, if you get sad and you don't know why, check on the things that you bought from other people, because their emotions are attached. They are imprinted into every article and article that you buy has these imprints of other people's emotions. You know, the only time you don't really find an energy imprint is when you buy new. So when you buy a new shirt, usually it's the manufacturer energy that you're putting into it. So you're not really getting emotions, ups and downs emotions through buying brand new. To buy a new house, let's say, for example, you buy a new house and you're just recently married and you're happy, you're in love, you're excited. That's what you imprint into the walls of that house, is those excited emotions. Okay. If you spend a lot of time in your house and you're happy-go-lucky, that's awesome, because that's what you're imprinting in the walls. And that's what that house is carrying. But if your marriage becomes sad, depressed, lonely, anger starts forming, frustration starts forming, because energy never stays the same. It's always moving. So that happy, excited energy that was feeling that house, it gets pushed out by the dense energies of anger, frustration. It gets pushed out, and that energy imprint takes on the walls as a new energy. So when you think of energy imprinting, it can be moved out, but it can't be destroyed. So when it's a light vibration frequency like love, excitement, and you have a dense anger and frustration emotions come in, it will cover up over top of that love and excitement emotion because it's heavier. You think of throwing a rock into the water, it sinks instantly. So energy imprinting doesn't change, it just gets covered up. So think of a child, okay? A child is born into a home through the mother's womb, and that child is imprinted by the mother's thoughts and emotions. Now, if that mother is in a loving relationship, that's the imprinting that baby is getting. But if that mother is not in a loving relationship, that's the imprinting that baby's getting. So when we think of our childhood and our conditioning, it doesn't start after we're born. It starts within the womb. Now, energy changes. So if in the mother's womb, let's say she's in a bad relationship, you're born and she moves out of that relationship into a more positive relationship. What happens is that first initial imprinting of the negativity of her thoughts, that sad feelings, it can be covered up in your imprinting if she's loved and excitement comes, because it's just layering. So think of energy imprinting as layers of your experiences that you experience this whole time that you're living, you're creating daily. Daily, we are energy imprinting. Empaths have it really hard when it comes to imprinting because they feel everything. When you think of energy imprinting and you think of feelings, an energy imprint only sticks in one spot when there's emotion attached to it. And it could be a positive or negative. It's the intensity of it. The intensity of it. So when you think of a child being spanked over and over and over again, that becomes a traumatic experience from a certain behavior. As you grow up, you will remember that experience because it's sunk down into your subconscious mind that when you act a certain way, you get a spanking, and that's a memory imprint on you not to behave like that, because you get consequences, you get actions from that imprint, that energy that's around you. We are all energy, and energy can't be seen, but energy is really powerful, guys. When you think of your thoughts, okay, this is another great example. When you have thoughts of negative talk, that imprints down into your body. So if you say, I am fat and ugly, that becomes a belief in your body because you've imprinted it through emotions. And that might have come from somebody else's words, but you believed it, and then it sunk into your conscious mind or subconscious mind, and that's what your body is living. Your body is always a representative of what you're thinking. You see people that look really sick, that is an imprint of sickness that has come onto them through emotions. So somebody that is always being abused on, eventually what will happen is their body will show it. When somebody is athletic, their body will also show it. Because we are imprinting our body energetically every day through our thoughts. And it starts as conditioning as children. Think of a teenager. Okay, so I want to step back. So when you think of a child grows up watching their parents. They don't touch each other. They don't kiss. They have no emotions attached to it. But we don't know what happens behind closed doors. But that child sees repeatedly that, the dad making comments to the mom, or there's always that tension. Now this child goes out and becomes a teenager, and they go and meet a guy, and they like this guy, and this guy is touchy, and that feels awkward because the energy imprinting as a child has not imprinted that touchy love feeling energy. So it feels different. It feels awkward. So that child, that teenager doesn't comprehend that type of imprinting because that's not what they're used to. So usually they will, if they really continue with that same person of being lovable and feeling good around them, that imprint will cover up that child imprint that they've seen from their parents. It's very cool when you think about energy imprinting. So over time as a teenager, if you are in a loving relationship or crush, whatever you want to call it, that will kind of cover up over top of what you're seeing at home. But the energy imprinting is not a match. It's not aligned. So this is where you get the experience that you experience. Like when you are in a relationship that is really loving, but you're not used to that relationship being loving, like you watch your parents and they're not loving. So energetically, you are not a match to that. So you will eventually let go of that relationship because it's not an alignment. It's not something you're used to. So as you go into adulthood, this energy imprinting still plays a very important role in how you live your adulthood. Again, it all comes from conditioning. So have you ever met people that go from relationship to relationship to relationship? And that is because their energy imprinting is not aligned with these people. So they get into it. It feels warm and fuzzy at the beginning, but because of the energy imprinting from childhood, it doesn't match it. So they got to get rid of it. And that's why they keep going. And people go on this journey of trying to figure out who they are through relationships. Energy imprinting is the result of an experience that you experience attached to an emotion, giving you the results that is imprinted into your body. So, when you think of energy imprinting, everything is an imprint. When you sign your signature to a paper, that's an imprint, energetically and physical. You can see it. When you're thinking of energy, as energy never is changed or destroyed, but you can change it. You can remove the energy imprinting out of your subconsciously if you want to change your thoughts. Energy imprints, yes, they come from emotions, from experiences, but it's your thoughts also connected to it. So, we've always heard law of attraction. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. Easier said than done. Because energetically, this is what your body, your aura, your meridians, your chakras are all connected to this childhood imprinting. When you think of this imprinting in energy as a child, you really think, wow, I didn't have a chance from the beginning, But really you do, because as you look at your childhood as a lesson and as a lesson to who you become, because without that childhood or that imprinting of energy, you wouldn't be the person you are today. Your marriage, any kind of dysfunction, or because we always hang on to the negative more than the positive. The negative actually imprinting helps move us forwards. And you say, what? What do you mean, Carrie? Negative energy imprinting gets to a point where it makes your physical body sick. So the negative imprinting, when it starts making you sick, your body starts showing that through disease, aches and pains. And so your body will continue getting sicker if you don't listen. So that energy imprinting that once was a part of you is no longer serving you, and your energy being is showing you through your body of sickness that something has to change. And this is when you go on a journey of understanding why you're sick. Doctors will always label it and give you a drug or medicine to fix it, but it doesn't fix it. You got to find the root of it. And how you find the root of it is through this energy imprinting. So for me, as an example, I grew up in a normal home, but it was very dysfunctional. It was very mentally abusive and physically abusive. When I met good guys, I never stayed with good guys because that wasn't my alignment. So I married a bad boy, and he aligned with the physical and mental abuse that I lived with as a child. That felt comfortable to me. But over time, that energy, that imprinted energy as a child, was not fulfilling me as an adult. Because as over time, you know what's right and what's wrong. And when your thoughts start coming in and you take training, like I went to a lot of different courses to understand. And when I started looking at my own energy imprinting, we all have a contract. We all have a blueprint. And I understand my own energy imprinting as the blueprint that I brought in, so I could understand the energy of me, because me as an energy being is much different than the physical being. The physical being is just a part of me that helped me get where I am today. So the energy imprinting of childhood was my task, so to speak, is what I learned. And as an adult, that I brought forth through this energy imprinting. And as an adult, I had to learn how that energy imprinting was good for me or bad for me. And this is where you start standing into your own truth and learning about who you truly are. We are taught as our conditioning, so our energy imprinting as young children is we get married, go to school, get a job, have a family. We are imprinted energetically those. Those are the lessons, the skills that we're supposed to accommodate to. Our parents did it. Our grandparents did it. So we are energetically imprinting generations of the same things. But when you get to be an adult and things aren't working, and you're sad and you're depressed and you're frustrated because everything you do doesn't line up with your previous energy imprinting, that's when change occurs. So my ex energy imprinting, he beat me up really bad. And through this beating me up really bad, it didn't really match my imprint of what I was supposed to be, who I was supposed to be. I want to reword that a different way. So through my blueprint, my energy blueprint of the reason I come here, after he hurt me really bad, it put me on a different path of understanding my blueprint, which was my energetic imprint before I come here. I don't want to confuse you guys. So you have a blueprint and you have a physical imprint. So the blueprint energy imprint is your outline of what you're supposed to do here in life. Your physical energy contract, I'm going to call them contracts, this is what you're supposed to do here, but it's energetically imprinted through your parents. The physical or the spiritual imprint comes through your higher self guides, God, they create that imprint for you. So when you get to a point like me in that abusive relationship, my blueprint, energy imprint, was not a match to the physical imprint from my parents. Through time, as you start on a journey of learning about you, that childhood energy imprint will be changed into, it will put you on a path in changing you into where you're supposed to be going. But sometimes we don't listen to our spiritual energy imprint and we fall back on the physical. So for me, in that abusive situation, I would leave him, get on the right path, and go back because that was my comfort zone, and that energy imprint from my parents was stronger than, at that time, than my spiritual energy blueprint that I brought in with me before birth through my higher self. So when you think of energy imprinting, yes, it starts off as humans imprint, but we are multidimensional beings. We're an energy being. So it just continues, the imprinting continues, but in a different way. So for me, physically, it started as a child, and through adulthood when it wasn't working, and I started seeing that this was not, I wasn't meant to be hurt. When I wasn't mentally to be hurt, what ended up happening, that energy imprint from my higher self started playing the role, started coming in to show me. How did it show me this energy imprint from the life I was living? I was connecting through my guides, through changing my words that I spoke to myself. So in the beginning, when I started tapping into my energy imprint through my higher self, I didn't understand what I was doing. But what I was doing is just sitting there and asking God to come into my life, and then I would quiet. I wouldn't say nothing. So energetically, I was connecting to God, and I truly believe this, that I was connecting to God, and through my silence, I was changing my physical energy imprint from my parents through allowing new information to come through when I meditated. So when you think of my story, change never happened. I was still running on that energy imprint from my childhood. It didn't change until the physical and mental abuse was so bad and my body was showing it, that I went on a journey of healing myself, because at the time the doctors could not help me because I would never share with them my secret of physical and mental abuse. I did it on my own. So through that imprint of growing up, don't tell anybody else about your what's happening at home, because you'll get into trouble. So that was my blueprint, my energy imprinting, not from my blueprint, but from the contract of this lifetime with my family. I know I'm bringing a lot of stuff in here, but energetically, you are ready for this, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So after that first time of him hurt me really bad and I went to the hospital, then I got on that journey of healing myself and to understand why it was happening, why I couldn't leave him and come back. I understand it. Now we have two energy imprints. We have the one before preconception and then the one at the time of preconception, before birth, after birth. So once you get to a part in your life where things aren't working and you know you're not getting ahead, there's something inside that you become missing. And this is a part of you that you're wondering, oh, there's got to be something more out there. You know, you're not happy, you're frustrated, nothing's going good for you. And so that's when your energy imprint from your higher self starts showing itself. So it showed itself to me during these meditations. I'd ask a question, I'd hear an answer. So I wasn't relying any longer at the subconscious memories from my conditioning. I was actually recreating, rewiring my own brain with new thoughts, but it wasn't coming from the outside world where it once did. It was coming from within. So within my body, when you go into meditation, you're not doing it outside, you're doing it inside. Over time, I just learned that I could trust my inner self more than I could trust the outside world. So what I was creating and what I was bringing in to my life at that time was the energy imprinting that was coming from a higher source, and it wasn't coming from the dense lower source of the world. So as I was shifting into this new energy imprinting that was created from God, my guides, and my higher self, I was learning more about me. So when I said before that you can energetically change, and even Einstein said it, you can't change energy, it can't be destroyed, but you can change the form of it. So what I was doing in my life without even knowing it, I was changing the energy imprint of physical and mental abuse, and I was changing it to peace and harmony within myself, and understanding that this old energy imprint is no longer serving me, and we can rewrite it. And that's through changing your thoughts. So my negative thoughts about myself, I energetically was re-imprinting myself with new thoughts. Like I am successful, law of attraction, affirmations, I am so grateful, I am that. I was changing my words and my thoughts, which was re-imprinting energy within my body. So consciously, I was aware that the abuse was hurting me, and through many different experiences and seeing that what I was doing was not working, it wasn't healing me or my family. So I energetically started changing myself through my emotions, and I started putting into my body joy, love, gratefulness through journaling. I journaled, like, what was I grateful for? When we have an energy imprint that is very negative or very heavy, dense vibration, it's hard to change because that's the energy imprint that your body is so used to. But over time, like I said before, that imprint will no longer serve you because that's not why you've come here. The dysfunction that's in your life is not who you are. It's just an imprint that you can wipe away. So think of putting your signature in the sand and water just coming up and washing it. Water is connected to emotions. So when you first are traumatically hurt, like I was, I attached some nasty, nasty emotions to it. So that was the imprint in my body. 30 years later, when I'm looking back of this energy imprinting that occurred in my body, it was just a stepping stone of me getting closer to who I am. It's a little energy imprinting when you look at your life, and having spiritual imprinting and physical imprinting. It's quite a bit different than objects, places that you go, because you're doing it within. You are changing that imprinting from conditioning within. When you're doing it outside in the world, you touch things and you leave it. Your imprint, you leave it wherever you are in the physical world. Really, energy imprinting is one of the most successful healings that you can do for yourself, is to understand your energy imprinting. So we built a brand new home, me and my ex, and that place was imprinted with the physical and mental abuse. In that walls, people would come at the beginning, they'd feel warm and fuzzy, but over time they would start feeling that imprinted energy from the physical and mental abuse. I painted the walls many times. Each time I painted a prettier color, a brighter color, that masked the energy imprinting of the mental and physical abuse. Those walls of that place have many, many layers of energy, but the energy, the dense energy of fighting continued, that imprinting continued. It didn't change in my life until I removed myself from that environment. Today, now when I look back, I'm imprinting energy totally different than I did back then, because I am not relying on my belief system from my childhood. I am actually learned from that childhood that is what I needed to experience, but that is not who I am. So over the times, 30 years, I have energetically imprinted, bringing into my life the spiritual imprint, my blueprint, that the purpose that I'm here for, that is aligning to my daily living now more than the past. The past is only here to help you along, and that energy imprinting is really important to get you on a path to understanding you. Really, people say, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to align with who you truly are. You know, when you look back at childhood, you are not your mother, you are not your father. But through our own adulthood and our own parenting, we become our parents. Why? Because of that energy imprinting. Our parenting skills are created through our parents, that energy imprinting that was brought on to us as we watched our parents. You know, a lot of people are visual learners, and that's because of energetic imprinting. So when we go through this journey in these cell memories, so I'm out of that environment now where that energy imprinting of the abuse was, but in my cell bodies, my cells are alive and they have a frequency. So those frequency, when I first left that relationship, still matched that environment I was living. So my body continued to be sick. Over time, and as I learned more about energy, I realized that if I soaked myself, went swimming and put my body into high vibrating situations through coloring, through music, through swimming, nature, there's all these other vibrations that are much higher than the dense energies of abuse and physical and mental abuse. So I just started to feel my body and learn through experiences that made me feel good. And when you feel good, you are rewriting that imprinted energy of the past. I love energy. I love energy. I just love it. And as people understand the energy more and more, they will love it too. When people say, oh, you can change your life, just change your thoughts. It's really true. But you have to remove the cell memories out of your body, out of that frequency of that negative imprinted energy of the past. So how did I do this? I went on a journey, like I said before, of energy healing. The one main thing that I still do today is gamma healing. And gamma healing, what it is, it's a higher vibration energy healing, or energy that comes in, but it's not imprinted with nothing. It's a pure energy from God that comes into the body, and through talking and bringing up experiences and memories through the gamma energy, we are releasing that energy imprint of dense negativity and bringing down that higher vibration and changing it. Okay, so you listen to people that talk about rewiring your brain. So when you have a traumatic situation like me, it went into my thoughts, attached with emotions, it went into my heart, and then it went into my body, but it went through my nervous system. My nervous system, my meridians, my chakras, my whole entire body, because they're all living cells. They're all intelligent, and they're all individual cells hung on to that imprinted energy. So when I started doing the gamma healing, I was bringing into my body a higher vibration energy that at the beginning was not imprinted into my body, but it was imprinted into my higher self. Very cool. So when you think of gamma brain waves, we're learning about it. The more you get into gamma brain waves, the more you become who you're meant to be. Through this gamma energy is really your connection to who you're really meant to be. As I worked on releasing this imprinted energy from my past, I was bringing in new energy. But you got to realize that when you do any kind of energy work, you just don't do it one day and it just clears everything. You are developed and created through many different layers. You're multidimensional for a reason. So when you're imprinted by other people as childhood, you have many layers there. At teenage, you have many layers there. Adult, many layers there. So when you go into healing or trying to change your life, you energetically have to rewrite every layer, experience, memory that you have gone through. So for me, myself, when I started doing the gamma energy, I was tapping into portals on my body. I didn't understand it, but it's like the light bulb. We got light. We don't need to understand it. We just know it works. So bringing in this higher vibration into my body was a fast way of me releasing energy imprinting from the past and bringing a new imprinting that was connected to my higher self before preconception, before I was born. The more I did the gamma energy of bringing in this new energy into my body had to obey and it started healing itself. When you bring in new thoughts, new energy into your body, over time, it has to heal itself. The mind is very, very intelligent. So your thoughts are created in your mind, positive or negative. That's what you feed your body. So this energy imprinting, thoughts you can't see them. They're invisible. Thoughts are what create the energy imprinting throughout your whole entire life. So energy imprinting is very important. So it's really important. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Whatever you're seeing visually is what you're putting into your body. As you become more aware of your energy and how it's feeding your body, then you will know. Your higher self will come in and it will start showing you where changes need to be. This is when people come and go out of your life. Relationships come out of your life. You lose jobs. It's because you're starting to line, as you energetically start changing yourself and shifting the energy within your body, that imprinting has to change. And then you start lining up with that blueprint, that person who you truly are. You start lining up to who you become. So energy imprinting as a child, your whole life, energy imprinting is different stages. And this is what we're all meant to do. And energy imprinting is really, it's like our guide. As children, that energy imprint got us into adulthood. What we should think about, how we should do things. It just put us on a path of being able to take care of ourselves. But over time, that imprinting gets old. So you have to change it. And when you change it, that's when you start becoming who you're meant to be. Today, I wouldn't be who I am without that energy imprinting, those experiences. So when you think of energy imprinting, just to recap, energy imprinting is to retain something in one's memory or to imprint it onto something like a place or objects. So for me, I retained a lot of my imprinting through my own memories and experiences. But also, I left imprints on our home, my children, everything I touched. So I'm so excited that you're here, and thank you for sharing. Let me share with you my energy imprinting of my life. And if you like what you're hearing, please follow so you can get updates. Because as we ascend together, we will just get lighter and lighter and lighter, and removing that dense energy out of our bodies to become out of that 3D body into a 5D body where you can live in peace and harmony. Have a great day. I'm Carrie Hermery, and thank you for sharing and allowing me to share my energy imprinting.